Hello, and welcome to another video by Rick Miracle. In my new series, The New World Order Media and Press Releases, number 16. I started these this year to try to put to use all the documents I've been printing out and cataloging going on 11 years. It's amazing to go through the boxes and sort them out, come up with ideas for videos. I think we're going to do another Zionist involving Jerusalem, the Middle East, and the crazy things going on right now with the troops massing in the northern border of Saudi Arabia, which I guess they have to cross Iraq and Jordan to get into Syria. So there is a serious desire to take out Assad. Well, before that, it was Iraq, Afghanistan, Egypt, Tunisia, Yemen, most of Africa, and the other countries in the area. And then, of course, when Russia, Putin, apparently was blocking the way to take out Assad, the powers that be took out the president of the Ukraine. That's like a huge, big plot involving the U.S., Britain, all of the Arabs, and I believe the destruction of Christianity and the rebuilding of King Solomon's temple, and much more crazy information. I'll share some of it in this video. Alright, well, doing my research since 2005, one guy came up on my radar, an interesting character to say the least. Supreme Rockefeller. Messiah or Antichrist? Supreme Rockefeller. Interesting looking character. You think? So apparently this article came out in 2009 by Wes Perry. I found it in January 2010. His full name is Supreme David Rockefeller, a 34-year-old man. So if we add 6 years onto that, seeing this is 2016, he's about 40, 41. Who says he is Marduk, Ra, Lucifer, redeemed, the Messiah the world has been waiting for, and the Bible has been telling us about. So he's saying the Messiah that's coming, and I think this is part of the New Age religion, the Luciferian religion. The Messiah that's coming apparently is going to be the Antichrist, the Lucifer, Marduk, and Ra. Is this man's secrets? Is this the man the secret societies have been waiting for? Secret societies, the Skull and Bones, Freemasons, Illuminati, and the many other mystery schools of Babylon. And if you don't know what that is, look up William Cooper and the mystery schools of Babylon. And there's a whole series of videos on YouTube. Awesome material to wrap your head around if you want to figure this stuff out. I've watched them for months on end. It's a lot of research. But I try to make these videos to give the people the quick and dirty. You don't have to spend 10 years or 5 years. Watch my videos and some other people's videos that are trying to get the truth out. That's why I do book reviews and document reviews. It's not me, per se, trying to say everything. It's all these other documents I have reviewed and discovered. Half of them are propaganda, lies, deception, and the other half are people trying to get the truth out. Regrettably, a lot of people trying to get the truth out usually get hurt or killed or discredited or ruined, jailed, imprisoned. Certainly, if you're in the wrong organization, you'll lose your job. So is this the man the secret societies have been waiting for and prepared for since ancient times? He says he is the one who rebelled against God, the universal Father, and caused the wars in heaven. He is the one who created sin and is the reason the world is in the shape it's in. This is what this guy says he is, according to this author. Bizarre, you think? According to himself, after thousands of years in exile, he has now returned in the body of Supreme Rockefeller, but has redeemed himself. Instead of bringing the world to its knees and fulfill the end-time prophecies, he has decided to save the world he once had the purpose to destroy. Now, it doesn't take a genius or a person with a super high IQ to know and remember the devil is the deceiver. God is the truth. Jesus was the truth. The opposite of the truth is deception. The opposite of God is evil, is the devil. Lucifer, Ra, Marduk, Isis, Osiris, Horus, the all-seeing eye on the dollar bill. So when this guy says he's here now to save the world that he once had the purpose to destroy, upon all this, he is also the Jewish Messiah. When he visits Israel, he is treated like a god. I'll hold this and pause it so you can read it. You can just put pause on your computer. So you can look that up on this website on the bottom, servicetune.wordpress.com, which, by the way, apparently his website was taken down, so when you click that link, it'll take you to another website where you can find all this stuff. So apparently this guy wrote quite a bit of material in his research. And as we know, I don't like to just research one little topic. I research it all. So when you get somebody who's really done a thorough job on one topic, it might be beneficial to go look at the guy's website if you want to spend some time and see all the stuff he has here. It'd probably be a fascinating read for quite a while. But is he telling the truth? Is Lucifer really equivalent to Satan? If not, then who is he? Hopefully this ebook will bring about some understanding of who he really is. So, Lucifer's redemption, religion and prophecies, interdimensional politics, Supreme's satellite monitoring system, Supreme wants to recruit me, Hathor, the reanimation of the Egyptian goddess, the Egyptian connection. So all these things I've been doing in my eclectic, diversified collection of books. Seems like I'm jumping all over the place, but a lot of the topics are on this guy's list in this Messiah or Antichrist website. Alien Union, the Vril Society, Antarctica, Springboard to the Stars, the Thule, the Magical Roots of Nazism, the self-proclaimed Messiah is born, significance of the year 1974, Egyptian goddess redeemed, Yiwa and Marduk, same deity. So if he's saying he's Marduk and Lucifer, and this guy's saying Yiwa is the same deity, is Yiwa the god of the Jewish people Lucifer? Many Jews have said, yes, our God is Lucifer. FYI, just something people ought to know. Like in Superman, Supreme and Samich, Lucifer and Iron Man, The Hidden Plot, Anunnaki, the Fallen Angels, Between the Devil and the Returning Rock, Jesus Christ and the Holy Grail, Lucifer's Pride, and this website has a ton of good stuff. But of course you don't believe everything you read. You got to read a lot and kind of sit back and use your God-given brain. And assuming you're the kind of guy who wants to treat others how you want to be treated, and you believe in the 10 Commandments like thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's belongings or wife, thou shalt not bear a false witness, lie about people. Just saying. Doesn't sound like tough commandments to me. But I guess if you're trying to take over the world and create a one-world empire, a lot of people got to die, and you need to steal all their resources. Never mind pillaging and rioting and raping their women. And it was a pitch on that website I went to that I mentioned, this website. If you go to the new website, there's some pictures of Supreme Rockefeller. And I printed this one out. Here's him with 2 of his assistants. He's got an all-seeing eye on the back of his hand. And so does his assistant, if you notice. And apparently he has an all-seeing eye on the back of his other hand. Strange. Look at the tattoos on her. Strange. Well, another document I thought was interesting in my collection from 2010. I was looking up everything. How about the pentagram? So it says on the top here, the pentagram, and it's got some links to press. You can see under the word the pentagram on this website. Lucifer, Venus, Satan symbols. Levi, Aleister Crowley. The pentagram from the Greek pent, meaning 5 or gamma. A letter. The pentagram is a 5-pointed figure formed by producing the sides of a pentagon both ways to their point or intersection, so as to form a 5-pointed star, pentapha, the triple triangle from the Greek word meaning 5. The pentagon is thought by some occultists. Remember, a lot of the Jews are into the Kabbalah. Occultists to trace its esoteric significance to astronomical observance of the pattern of Venus, conjunctions with the sun, and has many meanings in many cultures throughout the ages. So there are several pictures here of the different symbols. When I was looking up the pentagram, so I just thought it'd be interesting back in 2010 when I was doing my research. What is this stuff? What's with the Kabbalah? What's with the Supreme Rockefeller guy? Says he's Lucifer reincarnated. Although common usage often is to refer to depictions of a 5-pointed star as pentagrams, a distinction can be made. The outline of the pentagram, or the endless knot, is a 5-pointed star, But the five-pointed star itself does not necessarily represent the pentagram. While religious fundamentalists rarely make any distinction, some occultists and modern witches will make even further distinction and define the pentacle as the pentagram inside a pentagon or circle. So a pentacle is the pentagram inside a pentagon or circle. Historically, the pentacle referred to an amulet. Pentacle is not necessarily connected with the number 5. Pentacle probably comes from the old French word to hang, which means a talisman. That would be a magic amulet, a lucky charm, or by extension, any symbol used in magical operations. So it should behoove anybody to pay attention to the pentagram, because there are a lot of satanic symbols on a lot of the TV programming, even for children, adults, movies, all that stuff, cartoons, cereal boxes, kids' toys, adult stuff, magazines. You're going to see it everywhere. So it just might behoove us to pay attention to what the pentagram and the circle, what it all means. A further distinction should be made for its usage in European heraldry, where stars are generally termed estoles or mullets. Estoles, at last in England, will have 6 wavy rays. Unless specifically described, if the rays are straight, the star is termed a mullet. It should also be pierced, since, properly speaking, it does not represent a star, but depicts a roll of a spur. It has no connection with the celestial stars or the pentagram. So I noticed a lot of times when I drive across the country, from Maine to Florida to Santa Fe, New Mexico, and you've probably noticed it too, or probably didn't pay attention, but a lot of people have the 5-pointed star, big gigantic one, on their barn or on the front of their house. What does that mean? I always thought it meant something. So note, should also be made the barn star. That's when I just saw this here. I said, oh, that's what it means. A decorative illustration, often in the shape of a 5-pointed star, but occasionally in a circular wagon wheel. FYI, that's something to pay attention to. A star in a wheel. Used to adorn barns, originally and most commonly seen in German and German-American farming communities. Claims of the symbol's origins are as a warning sign or questionable. Warding. Van Gogel-Goff and Van Buren tell us that the use of the pentagram dates back to Uruk IV, 3,500 BC, so that would be 5,500 years ago, in ancient Mesopotamia, where the general sense seems to be heavenly body. By the cuneiform period post 2600 BC, the pentagram or symbol UB means religion, heavenly quarter, or direction. That this symbol always has a specific, unambiguous meaning continues to be unsupported hypothesis. It is found on pot shards and in the location of Uruk, near the mouth of the Gulf, that would be over by Iraq, and more frequently in Jad Nasser, 31 to 29 BC, and Proto-Emulite tablets, 3000 to 2500 BC. So we got more pictures of this pentagram and the circle. I think I got them all. So, moving on. Albert Mackey says that as a talisman for health and good fortune, the pentagram has been found on Egypt's statues and Gaulish coins. He goes on to say incorrectly that Druids, more people into witchcraft magic, wore it on their sandals, hence the German Drudenfuss, a word originally signifying Druid's foot. There we go, some more information. Solomonic text of the medieval period gave importance to the pentagram under the name Solomon's Seal. Remember, they want to rebuild Solomon's temple over there in Jerusalem. Gershom Schoen writes, in Arabic magic, the seal of Solomon was widely used. But at first its use in Jewish circles was restricted to relatively rare cases. Even then, the hexagram and the pentagram were easily interchangeable, and the name was applied to both figures. Latin versions of Solomonic text use the word pentaculon to refer to all the various circular devices associated with Solomon's seal, even though most of them do not actually contain a pentagram. It is a symbol which Solomon conceived once by betoken holy truth and by its intrinsic right, for it is a figure which has 5 points, and each line overlaps and is locked with another. It is an endless everywhere, and the English call it, in all the land I hear, the endless knot. See, over here to the left, there's some words here. Symbols mean what the users want them to mean. Meanings change. Although Venus is termed the bright morning star, or Lucifer, and the pentagram is claimed by Levi to represent Baphomet, that would be the devil with the horns, especially that statue that they want to erect on the state building in Oklahoma. And apparently, I went over that in previous videos, but apparently they want to, I forget what city in the Northeast, Detroit. They had a big opening for this statue, and 2 little children are looking up at awe at Baphomet with his horns. The new religion of the new age, the religion of the United Nations. That's why they want to destroy Christianity. There's more going on than meets the eye. And the celestial motions of Venus sketch a pentagram in the sky. It does not follow that the pentagram represents Lucifer, or Lucifer equates with Baphomet, or that any of this has anything to do with Freemasonry. Oh, I suspect it's not true what they're saying here. So they want to keep trying to pull Lucifer away from Satan and say it's not the same thing. That everybody has misunderstood. And remember, in that previous document, Supreme Rockefeller says he was Lucifer, and his intentions are not to destroy the world anymore. So it just so happens I have a collection of photos, witchcraft photos. And I guess you can see here we have the death's head. The death head. Triangle inside. Here's an Ankh you see on the cover of the Freemasonic books. And apparently a 5-pointed star in a circle. You can see the circle and the 5-pointed star behind the snake. The snake, get it? Snakes, 2 snakes, 5-pointed star, the Ankh you see on the Freemasonic books and on the Egyptian hieroglyphics, and the circle around the whole thing. And behind that, you have the six-pointed star. Wow, that's probably a double whammy evil symbol. And I guess here's another one you would use as an amulet. Wear it around your neck or something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pointed. And this, of course, would be the devil sign with the 5-pointed star. And there's a picture of the devil and the triangle and the symbols around the circle. Probably when they have those satanic rituals, when they do strange things to people, children, adults, sacrifices, crazy sex with children and things. Apparently there's 13 rows on the, there goes that phone that I try to make a living. So here I got a little card here that says, Goals for a Witch. Know yourself, know your craft. Learn and grow. Apply knowledge with wisdom. Achieve balance. Keep your words in good order. Keep your thoughts in good order. Celebrate life. Attune with the cycles of earth. Breathe and eat correctly. Exercise thy body. Meditate. Honor the goddess and God. Just thought I'd go grab the little packet out of there of my witches file. 13 is their number. Remember 13. It's going to come up a lot. Look on the back of the front of the dollar bill. That back of the dollar bill. 13 arrows, 13 stars, 13 steps on the pyramid. Almost everything back there is there 13 lines on the flag. Day of the Witch. See the 5-pointed star? See the circle? You're going to see this in the Zionist information, Talmud information, Kabbalah information, Freemasons, Illuminati. All this occult stuff is everywhere. 13 beads on the amulet, on their little prayer thing, with the rays and some kind of figure sitting there. 13 is the death card on the tarot cards. On the ruins, the druids, little stones you throw to do readings from, 13 stones. 5-pointed star. 5-pointed star in the circle. 5-pointed star in the circle and the moon. There's a moon in all these pictures too. I think these are the moon and the sun and the 5-pointed star and the circle around it. Magic amulets. Magic talisman. 5-pointed star. So when I was reading that book, I was thinking, wait a minute. They say that the 5-pointed star and the circle, it's got nothing to do with witchcraft. That's what was in the witchcraft images. There's a witch on the symbol. So what is all this stuff with witchcraft? And why is the Pentagon, the main war machine in the U.S., battling all over the world, shaped like a pentagon? Coincidence? No. It's shaped like a pentagon on purpose. So here I am reading this document. Pentagrams everywhere, symbols, and I'm reminded of the Kabbalah, the religion of the Illuminati, and witchcraft seems to be the same. Many people that are Jewish say, yes, our God is Lucifer, but this is concerning information. People, we need to think about this. It's all there for anybody to see. The Pentagon's use in the city seal of Jerusalem, here we go, has led to its confusion with the various titles seal, shield, star, and Solomon. Early Christians attributed the pentagram to the 5 stigmata of Christ, or the doctrine of the Trinity, plus that of the 2 natures of Christ. Its form implied truth, religious mysticism, and the work of Creator. Roman Emperor Constantine I, after his defeat to Maximus and the issuance of the Edict of Milan in 312 CE, ascribed his success to his conversion to Christianity and incorporated the pentagram, one put down unto the seal and amulet. Just some crazy stuff too when I was researching back there in 2010. What is the 5-pointed star? Is the pentagram a Masonic symbol? The Masonic significance of the pentagram is controversial. While it often appears on Masonic regalia and decorative illustration, nowhere is it mentioned in Masonic rituals and literature. I'm not so sure of that. I'll have to pay attention. But he admits here it's on their uniforms and on their rituals and on their clothing, documents. The medieval Freemason Mackey says it's a symbol of deep wisdom. And it found among the architectural ornaments of most of the ecclesiastical edifices of the Middle East. 5-pointed star being used as stonemasons' marks during the medieval cathedral building period. Is the pentagram with 2 points ascendant a symbol for Satan? Is the pentagon a symbol for Wiccan? Is there a link between Satan and Lucifer? Is there a link between pentagram and Venus? How is the pentagram used today? The symbol on the bottom there is quite interesting, the one I'm showing right now. Look up the Medal of Freedom that Obama gave Clinton and Oprah and some other people. And you'll find it looks exactly like this one here. It has 5 eagles around the edges, and the eagles represent the devil. Mendes, the devil Mendes, according to Albert Pike's book Morals and Dogma, that he got through an interdimensional being called a master. They all went and communicated interdimensionally with creatures called masters, demons, beings, gods, whatever. Helena Blavatsky had a couple masters. If you read her material, you'll see pictures of those masters. Aleister Crowley had some kind of master, Hiawas. He drew a picture of him, looked just like a gray alien. If you pay attention, all this stuff starts to click and tie together. More fun facts. Circle of Protection. A wisdom archive of a circle of protection. So we noticed on a lot of those 5-pointed stars, there was a circle of protection, a circle around the pentagram. So some people made some comments here. I thought I would just read a few. You can go find this on the internet, Circle of Protection, Global Oneness. And people don't think there's weird stuff going on and stuff we should be concerned with. The Wiccan Way, master the art of witchcraft includes spells, magic, and rituals. Free wish spells. Whatever you need, my powerful spells can help. All free. Magic spells. Huge selection of magic spell items. So I guess they got stuff you can buy on this website, Magic Spells. This was in my collection of material from 2010. So some people here made some comments. A protected area in which ritual work takes place, or the boundary of a sphere of personal power cast by Wiccans, ceremonial magicians, and others before performing their rituals. These rituals are usually performed within the magic circle. Also, circles are often formed by attendees at a seance. Magic circle, another comment here. Ring drawn by occultists to protect them from the spirits and demons they call up by incantations and rituals. So people out there would believe there's no God, but they'll believe this stuff. Circle, another comment. Sacred space, wherein all magic is to be worked and all ritual contained. It both holds ritual energy until the witch is ready to release it and provides protection for the witch. Magic circle, a sphere constructed of personal power in which rituals are usually performed. Within it, the witch is protected from outside forces. The sphere extends both above and below the surface of the ground. Information you want to know? Crazy. Circle, another commenter says, the sacred space where all magic is to be worked and all ritual contained. The circle both contains raised energy and provides protection for the witch and is created and banished with her energy. Symbol of the cosmos and heaven. Witch's coven. Media mystic or healing group. Another commenter here. A circular boundary drawn in visionary blue flames and white light that protects the witch from outside forces while conducting ritual magic. Magic. Is there really such a thing? Seems like something's true. And the rest of the people are oblivious to what's going on in the world. Magic circle. The purpose of the circle drawn around the magician is to keep him separated from both mundane and demonic forces. One's magical aura is normally extended far into everyday life, but in the particular vulnerable state of invocation, one's concentration is too much inner-directed and narrow to be able to protect oneself if the circumference is too large. Moreover, there are some cautious magicians who insist on coverage above and below them as well. Another commenter says here, circle. The magic circle is drawn in the astral world about the magus, magician, and the place where the ritual is worked. It forms a division between the magical place and the ordinary world, setting the interior space apart. This allows the region inside the circle to hold a heightened charge of magical potency. And because it is pure space devoted to worship and magic. Worship and magic. Satanism and Lucifer. The city seal for Jerusalem is the five-pointed star. A lot of crazy things here. It permits the manifestation of spiritual intelligences. Spiritual intelligences. What have I been talking about all along? Who are these aliens, reptilians, and greys? And interdimensional ships that seem to pop into existence and pop out of existence. What is this reality we are living in? What is it about the desire for all the Jewish folks to head back to Israel called Aliyah? What's prophesied after they all go back? What does the Talmud say? Been watching my videos, it says some pretty horrible things. The best of the Goyim, non-Jews, will be killed. What are the symbols on the United Nations, the occultic symbols there? Why is the Lucifer Publishing Company, which changed its name to Lucas Publishing Company, why is its office next door to the United Nations? Suppose, is this big group, people just don't seem to see them, that's in place, the big pyramid. Who's really at the top? Some people will say it's the Jesuits. Some say it's the Illuminati. The Illuminati are the Zionists. Those are the banksters, the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, Supreme, that we just looked at in this video. Supreme Rockefeller, who claims that he's Lucifer. Is there some cosmic, higher dimensional entities, or just different DNA type of creatures, living right here on Earth that are acting behind the scenes? Are they afraid of we the people waking up? Is that why they have to disarm we the people, deceive we the people, mind control we the people, drugs, liquor, TV mesmerization, cartoons for kids, the books, taking over education, all the other institutions in the United States and the world? So anyways, I was looking at this. So we talk about the five-pointed star and the circle of protection. So I went back to my pictures and I looked up my little file there called Bafflement. Here's some pictures of Bafflement. Remember, they got that statue they tried to erect in Oklahoma City on a state building. And they fought that, so they took it up to Detroit, had a great opening. And they were having witchcraft ceremonies in the streets. And apparently this is the same religion of the Kabbalah. Many Jews claim that, yes, Lucifer is our God. So this guy here would be called Lucifer, Baal, Baphomet, Ra, Moloch, Marduk, and many other names. Pointing as above, as below, pointing up, pointing down. Look at the five-pointed star on his head. Also called the Pied Piper, the Deceiver. Look, he looks like a goat, goat's feet, goats. Then the Vatican, in the vault below the Vatican, they have this big painting of Lucifer. Then on the website there was another one there. Look at the skull for the death head, skulls. Doing the devil sign, the devil's doing the devil sign with both hands. And the lamp on his head, all these things have these lights on their head. And the snakes we saw in the other pictures of the witchcraft ambulance with the star and the circle. The two snakes is everywhere, you notice. Here the devil has the five-pointed star and the circle around it. This is part of the witchcraft ceremonies. And I told you Madonna and a lot of other stars doing the Super Bowl halftime shows are doing satanic rituals. You can clearly see it. I think this is Moloch on my right here where my finger is. But you can see that the Madonna, all the symbolism's right there. Five-pointed star. So what is this religion? That they would have many people running around the United States that I talk to, believing there's no God. But the devil wants to enslave humans. According to these pictures, I'm sure some of these pictures are quite old. And apparently it's a battle between heaven and Hades. In the beginning of this video, this guy says he's Lucifer. Look at the back of his hand. Look at the back of her hand. He says he's Lucifer. He says he's this guy fighting Jesus. According to this document. And he says he's changed his mind. You buying it? So a little bit more from this circle of protection. A few more comments from a couple people and I'll move on. The circle is always inscribed from the inside, ideally from the center. It is sunwise direction and visualized as a growing or flaming band of light that sustains itself in the air at the level of the heart. I guess these people made comments on this website describing the circle of protection. Magic circle, a circular boundary drawn in visionary blue flame or white flame that protects you from outside forces while conducting rituals. Never step inside the circle while performing the ritual unless precautions have been taken, like a door being cut. Nobody should step in during a ritual unless they are following a pathway made for them. Door is cut by anthem or wands. You have to cut it with a wand. Circles should never be left hanging after ritual. Must be closed as was opened ceremoniously. It is considered the doorway between the worlds. The doorway between the worlds. And allows us to move between the two. Some circles can be permanently or physically or temporarily with herbs, sand, salt, chalk, or 9-foot cord. Circle is cat with blue or white light. Before area is used, clean the area, cleansing and consecrating, and make sure necessary supplies are there. So I've mentioned quite a bit in my videos about the sacrifices with the witchcraft and the Illuminati, sacrificing people. Even Rabbi Marvin Antelman, and the leader for the Jewish Congress of the United States, who wrote the 2 books to eliminate the Opate, talks about the ritual that Adolf Hitler did in his diary by sacrificing an abducted young Munich man in Germany to bring forth a being from the other dimension, to impregnate the young girl laying on an adjoining altar. Apparently, according to Rabbi Marvin Antelman's book in Hitler's diary, the being like a ghost or a demon or whatever, appeared, failed to impregnate the young girl. Just saying, a lot of people don't know what to believe. There goes that phone again. I talk about a lot of things on my videos. I'd like to think they all connect the dots. So continuing to read these comments on the circle of protection, I find another dot connected. Lucas Trust, formerly Lucifer Trust. Originally incorporated as the Lucifer Publishing Company, that's what it says here. The Lucas Trust oversees the Lucas Publishing Company, World Goodwill, they always use good names, Arcane School. Lucas Trust owns all the copyrights of the Alice Bailey books, who was the one who followed after Helena Blavatsky and the Secret Doctrine. The Religion of the New Age. Magic circle ring drawn by occultists to protect them from the spirits and demons they call up by incantations and rituals. Here's a little advertisement Want to leave the Matrix? Former government spy shares secrets of bending your reality. www.oneuniversalmind.com. Crazy stuff, you think? Circle of Protection Encyclopedia. Evoke. Evocation. To evoke, to call forth outside, is a form of magical operation, whereby the required force or entity is called forth into a protected area. The magician or operator is usually protected inside what is commonly called a magic circle, and the entity is evoked into the triangle of art. Such forces called forth are obvious reasons useful demons rather than God forces. Evocation is regularly confused with invocation or invocation. Invocation is a magical operation intended to call forth. So when I talk about a lot of the Jewish folks have turned towards the dark side, Zionism, practice the Kabbalah, and other decadent, perverted rituals and ceremonies. I'm not making this stuff up. And when a lot of Jewish folks adhere to the Bible or acknowledge that Jesus came, these bad Jews that I call them, I guess you can call devil bad, persecute, prosecute, put bombs in the mailbox of Jesus-believing Jews I have read in Israel. So there's more to what is going on, as I keep saying. All right, just a little more here. Watchtowers. These are different sources of what a circle of protection says. A concept derived from the ceremonial magic. The 4 watchtowers each represent a cardinal direction, element, elemental, and color, originally from the Enochian branch or ceremonial magic. They are now incorporated into many traditions or Wicca. Solitary, another comment here, a witch who practices witchcraft or Wiccan and worships alone rather than as a member of a coven. During the early growth of witchcraft and Wiccans and in neo-pagan circles, one had to be initiated by another witch. We know people who joined the Freemasonic lodges and Illuminati and all that stuff, Rosicrucians, have to get initiated. But as the craft traditions changed and became more liberal, it became acceptable to initiate oneself. I'm reminded of that story I told in earlier videos about this family who decided to go camping, and they were walking down a trail, a bunch of them, and down below they saw, I guess, a witch's coven in a circle performing a ritual, and in the middle appeared a giant-sized man. But it wasn't a man, it was a reptilian entity. And here they up are on the ledge looking down. I'll have to find the document where I got that information. But anyways, the reptilian entity, I don't know, Lucifer, whatever it was, Pindar, as per the Arizona Wilder and David Icke video, that they shape-shift when they have the Illuminati do rituals, and they shapeshift back into reptilian beings. Well, anyways, down in the valley where they were having the witches' circle, these campers saw in the midst of it appear out of nowhere a giant reptilian man, and he could look up and he saw him on the hill and he pointed, and they started running the other way, and as if by magic, he reappeared right in their midst. He couldn't have ran, he was so far. And just an interesting story to correlate all the different perspectives when you hear about these things. The Garden of Eden, with the snake giving the apple to Adam and Eve. Throughout history, all the symbols and representations of snakes and reptilia beings in all the religions all over the world. The gargoyles and demons on buildings in historic downtown areas in the United States. All over Europe and Germany, I'm sure. The Vatican, I've seen it. So what is really going on? One more. This one is called angels. In the past 10 years, there has been a renewed appreciation and interest in angels. They represent goodness, protection, and heavenly realm. As a dream symbol, they may attempt to focus the dreamer's attention on his own divine qualities and the supportive and loving aspects of life. Some say that dreaming about angels is a symbol of good luck, while others believe that you will see an angel in your dream around the time when there is a birth or death in the family and in your close circle of friends. Angels are mystical and spiritual symbols. Traditionally, they have been the messengers of God. The interpretations of your dream angel depends on your own views. Generally, the message coming up from your unconsciousness may be of important magnitude, so record your dream and think about all of its details and implications. All right, one last one. I want to wear this out, but I want to make a point here. Pentagram. It is an ancient symbol with multiple meanings. It is always seen with its apex up. It can represent the four elements, headed by the fifth element of spirit. Or it can represent a human with its arms and legs spread to represent the creative principle over all creation. Satanic cults often use the pentagram in the upside down fashion to show matter over spirit in much the same way that they pervert the meaning of the Christian cross. Used as protection or for invoking or banishing mystical forces and entities, symbolic of humankind made perfect. Number 2, the basic 5-point star is worn by Wiccans, witches, with 1 point up and enclosed by a circle. The symbol represents the Wiccan religion, the 5 senses, the elements, and the human body, and a protection symbol known from the times of Babylon. Here we go with Babylon again. Babylon means the gateway to the gods, by the way. So why are they taking over all the countries in the Middle East? Killing all the natives there, the Arabs? Deporting the rest of them to Europe and America? One has to wonder what's really going on. Why do they want to rebuild King Solomon's temple? What are the religious ramifications of all this? With Supreme Rockefeller here telling us that he is the reincarnation of Lucifer, Ra, Moloch, Marduk. Knowing they're trying to destroy Christianity. Knowing that they're having wars and murdering people and stealing property rights. Changing the laws, trying to get rid of the United States Constitution. Agenda 21. Then we have the Skull and Bones. Over there in Britain, it's called the Group. And in the United States, we have Freemasonic and York Rite Lodges all over the United States. And in their manuals, they have addresses of lodges all over the world, even in Haiti. No place is untouched by these people. Symbol of power or protection, which hung over doors and windows, represents the element earth, a tool for summoning the goddess. Pentagram, pentacle, is an article of jewelry or altarpiece. Pentagram is the drawing, also pentagram, pentacle. Penti meaning 5, gram meaning line. Pentagram is an object, material object charged with psychic power and used for concentrating psychic power. 7, symbol of man, woman standing with spread legs and outstretched arms, a miniature symbol of the universe, the points representing the elements. And number 8, lastly, in Latin, pentaculum. The points and center can stand for birth, initiation, love, repose, death, and transformation, sex, self, passion, pride, power, timelessness, beginning, adolescence, adulthood, elderly, ending in power, to move, change, transform. All the common meaning, but arguably earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. Note the early Christians wore the pentacles, for to them it represented the 5 wounds of Christ on the cross. And the parts of the human body, that is the head, arms, legs. So who knows who's being deceived? What this stuff means. Remember, this is a series called The New World Order. My collection of documents, whether they be press releases or research material, I printed out over almost 11 years. And I thought I would sort all that stuff out into many boxes and do something with the material. Revisit the material. And it helps me to even further educate myself. And I'm hoping my videos help educate anybody who wants to look into this stuff. So one thing was funny on abebooks.com, where I buy my used books. Back in 2010, I found this particular series, The Most Devilish Books. Just interesting. Satan, Lucifer, Beelzebub, Menphoselius, the Prince of Darkness. Call him what you will, but the devil is such an intriguing force of evil that countless writers across many centuries have woven a devil, the devil, or simply demonic themes into their work. Dante's Inferno, which has recently been turned into a video game. C.S. Lewis, Washington, Irving, and of course the king of occultists, Aleister Crowley, all have ventured into this dark territory. Joe Hill, son of Stephen King, also takes a trip through hell with his new supernatural thriller Horns. Devilish writing veers from straight horror to anarchic humor to the completely unexpected. Get to know the devil in literature. So just making a point here. I got a lot of material out there for people to get. Games, movies. The people are into the devil. Crazy, you think? So I know that whoever these people running our governments are, it does seem like the corporations are taking over the world. By design, because the corporations are not answerable to the people. So Rothschilds is a big player. They created in 1913 the Federal Reserve, which means they sort of, if not thoroughly, took control of the United States. They control the money. So if you control the money, you control the politicians. And they've been sucking the United States dry of money and using it for the New World Order building all over the world. For example, Britain in World War I was losing the war with Germany. And some Jewish people in New York and probably overseas came up with the brilliant idea to go see the leader of Britain, England, and say, hey, we'll get America to come into the war. We control Woodrow Wilson. We control the Federal Reserve. And you'll be able to win this war you're losing with Germany. But in return, you need to give us the Palestinians land, support us to take it. And that was called the Balfour Agreement. So if anybody wants to know what's really going on for the last 100 years with all these wars and chaos and anarchy and mayhem and economic destruction in the United States, where they crashed the system 8 or 9 times, buying everything up by pennies on the dollar because they controlled the Federal Reserve. They control the USA money supply. And I suspect they control money supplies all over the world. I understand they are the bankers to the Vatican. Probably the bankers to the Queen of England and those people. And all this money's been funneled over there towards the confiscation of all the property of Israel, the Palestinians' land, now called Israel. And apparently overthrowing all the other countries all over the Middle East and North Africa and elsewhere, the Ukraine, to get an even larger size country going. So with that said, I came across this document back then in 2010. Rothschilds plan to see privatization of Britain's massive public motorway. So just like here in the United States where they're selling off the public utilities and assets to these corporations, money that was built to these things with taxpayer dollars, selling off the public transportation infrastructure to pay off government debt is no longer ideological opposition in London today, if a recently published report is to be believed. A plan to privatize the UK's motorway network, giving toll firms access to large swaths of road, would take place under the guise of paying down the government debt. British media reported. Even if they took this money from selling these highways that they built with taxpayer dollars, and even if they paid down the government debt, don't you think the way they spend money, it would be back where it was in not too short a time? They seem to have no limit on spending the taxpayer dollars, and apparently towards goals that have nothing to do with taxpayers, like in the United States, $500 billion a year for almost 100 bases and 197 bases in 170 countries. They don't spend 1/10 of that on we the people, our bridges and highways and all the other maintenance and programs and welfare and jobs and everything else in the USA. Just saying, it's concerning. British media reported Tuesday, and remember, this is the stuff I was studying back in 2010. I didn't know what to think. It took me years to get all these documents and look at this one and that one and all this other stuff. What is really going on? Who are these Rothschilds and Rockefeller who thinks there's a reincarnation of Lucifer and murdering people all over the Middle East and other parts of the world to take billions of dollars of the United States taxpayers' money so they could kill all the Palestinians and take their land? And in the books I have with the Jewish utopia, Bloody Zion, they have Ames, Protocols of Zion, and many other books I've gone over. They have plans for a new age, apparently this devil religion. See the chains around the people? That's their idea of paradise. Not good for we, the people. So anyways, I came across this back then. Citing a number of key officials who support the scheme proposed to all the major political parties by N.M. Rothschilds, one of the world's oldest, most influential, and little discussed investment banks, founded by the Rothschilds family. And all this chaos right now with Greece and Saudi Arabia getting ready to cross Iraq and go into Syria, and massive army being put in place right now. February 19th, 2016. You don't hear a peep in the news on the articles I read that mention Jerusalem, which is sitting right there, Israel. Israel likes to keep in the background. All this news, you never hear about Israel. The Hegelian dialectic. We went over that in a previous video. I did. And basically what it means, there's this sinister force behind the scenes who taunts the Shiites and blames it on the Sunnis. Taunts the Sunnis and blames it on the Shiites. So that they go to war and kill each other, while the sinister force these Zionist Jewish folks, sit back and watch, and all the other Illuminati, secret mystery of school Babylon, satanic Illuminati, Luciferic witchcraft cults, lodges, temples, worldwide. You don't see them in the news. But if you pay attention, you see stuff like this. Some of these people's comments here are pretty horrible. Oh yeah, the familiar stench of Rothschild's filth. That's what it says here. So here I am studying stuff back in 2010, reading stuff like that. What did I know what to think? The Brits would be idiots to let this happen. They would become slaves to the banks and private companies, will only take out the profit and never repair the highway. Before you do that, you might want to research how fabulous it's worked here in the USA, where the basic game is for private concerns to buy up our public assets, jack up fees, cut quality, ignore maintenance, and then once the asset has been rendered completely unusable, sell it back to the government for some outrageously inflated price, so we can still dump more billions into restoring whatever it is. It's called a scam. You gonna believe Supreme Rockefeller when he says he doesn't really want to destroy us anymore? He's changed his mind. The Rothschilds are filthy parasites, bloated with their own importance and incapable of compassion for any living thing outside of their nest, giving away arguably the most important public infrastructure to pay off a bank is pretty crazy. You'd think they could just bomb the bank instead of having to kill and bomb all the people. Be a lot cheaper. Rothschilds helped engineer the collapse, just like the Great Depression, when they snapped up all collapsing companies. As I keep saying, other people figured this out. When we had the Great Depression, when they pulled money out of the economy, they can grow the economy or they can pull it back. And when everything is robust and everybody is off guard, making money, sitting at the dinner table with a big turkey and a glass of wine, then the banksters go to work, pull the money back out of the economy. Then they can't even afford a small chicken. Everybody's going broke. And the bank buys up everything pennies on the dollar. 8, 9 times they've done that since the Rothschilds created the Federal Reserve in cahoots with Woodrow Wilson, who later said he regretted that. And all his advisors were those New York Jewish folks who were bent on creating the state of Israel, the Zionist. Not to be confused with all the Jewish folks fighting this who says it's not part of their religion. They didn't turn towards the dark side. Absolute madness, this commenter says. Sell for the current debt all of England by the pound. Americans did it already. To anyone who had the money. Who got the money? The Red Shield gets the money. Somebody take out the Rothschilds before they destroy the economies of everyone by controlling markets. Go for it, boys. Sell off everything you can get your hands on that was paid for by the taxpayers' money for the public good. And then the day when you are caught with your pants down, all you have left are your bankster friends and the surveillance cameras. Is there anything at all governments will not sell? Isn't it about time these rich scum are indicted for racketeering and everything they have confiscated? Private industry will take care of all of us. Don't be concerned. Run as fast as you can from this idea. A plague upon the planet, another commenter says. People. A plague upon the planet and people is the House of Red Shield. For the life of one and all, perhaps billions would be lifted from poverty, slavery, and starvation. Hitler had nothing on the Rothschilds. Well, the Rothschilds financed Hitler. A lot of people know that. Go get the book Who Financed Hitler by James and Suzanne Poole. All right, moving on. Maybe I'll wrap up this video with another bomb. The 5 dancing Israelis arrested on 9/11. A Mossad, that would be the intelligence agency in Israel, surveillance team made quite a public spectacle of themselves on 9/11. A Mossad surveillance team made quite a public spectacle of themselves on 9/11. The New York Times reported Thursday that a group of 5 men had set up video cameras aimed at the Twin Towers prior to the attack on Tuesday, and were seen congratulating one another afterwards. Police received several calls from angry New Jersey residents claiming Middle Eastern men with a white van were videotaping the disaster with shouts of joy and mockery. They were like happy, you know. They didn't look shocked to me, said a witness. They were seen by a New Jersey resident on September 11th, making fun of the World Trade Center ruins and going to extreme lengths to photograph themselves in front of the wreckage. So a lot of these Israelis were going over to the records and getting their friends to take a picture of them, because they probably couldn't do a selfie. Such a big wreckage. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who was asked about the attacks would mean for U.S.-Israeli relations, his quick reply was, "It's very good." They wanted to blame it on the Muslims, remember? Well, not good, but it will generate immediate sympathy for Israel. The Hegelian dialectic, the Hegelian philosophy. They do things to get public opinion in their favor. I went over that in a book, The Secret Establishment, The Skull and Bones. And they're doing that here in the United States with all these, in my opinion, these incidences of Oklahoma City bombings and shootings and 9/11 and other things. It's a grand deception. Witnesses saw them jumping for joy in Liberty State Park after the initial impact. Later on, other witnesses saw them celebrating on the roof of a in Wichita, and still more witnesses later saw them celebrating with high fives in a Jersey City parking lot. The 5 dancing Israelis arrested on 9/11. You can look that up. It looked like they're hooked in with this. It looked like they knew what was going to happen when they were at Liberty State Park. One anonymous phone call to the authorities actually led them to close down all of New York's bridges and tunnels. The mystery caller told 911, the dispatcher, that a group of Palestinians were mixing a bomb inside a white van headed for the Holland Tunnel. Here's the transcript from NBC News. Now, I don't think anybody can look at a couple of Arabs in New York City and tell if they're Palestinians, Egyptians, Iraqians, Iranians, Syrians, Tunisians. We're talking about almost a land territory the size of a continent with a dozen Arab nations of people who all look dark with dark hair and dress the same. But this caller specifically targeted them for public consumption, the Hegelian dialectic, the Hegelian philosophy. What they're using on all of us right now to deceive us into this sustainability, biodiversity, global warming, terrorism, threat of a plague, earthquakes, Planet X, Nibiru, pole shift. nuclear explosion, World War III, water running out, food running out, dollar crashing, stock market crashing, and so on, and so on, and so on. Dispatcher, Jersey City Police. Caller. Yes, we have a white van. 2 or 3 guys in there. They look like Palestinians. And going around a building. There's a minivan headed towards the Holland Tunnel. I see the guy by Newark Airport mixing some junk. And he had those chic uniforms. Dispatcher. He has what? Caller. He's dressed like an Arab. So the writer's note here, why would this mystery caller specifically say these Arabs were Palestinians? How would he know that? Palestinians usually dressed in Western style clothes, not chic uniforms. Based on that phone call, police then issued a be on the lookout for a white minivan headed for the city's bridges and tunnels from New Jersey. They got a picture here of a white minivan. Whatever that means. White 2000 Chevrolet van with urban moving systems, sign on back seen at Liberty State Park, Jersey City, New Jersey, at the time of the first impact of the jetliner into World Trade Center. The 3 individuals with van were seen celebrating after initial impact and subsequent explosion. Well, it seems like they knew this was coming. FBI Network Field Office requests that if the van is located, hold for prints and detain individuals. When a van fitting the exact description was stopped just before crossing into New York, the suspicious Middle Easterners were apprehended. Imagine the surprise of the police officers when these terror suspects turned out to be Israelis. According to ABC's 2020, when the van belonging to the cheering Israelis was stopped by the police, the driver of the van, Sylvan Kurzberg, told the officers, "We are Israelis. We are not your problem. Your problem are our problems. The Palestinians are your problems." Why did he feel the Palestinians were a problem to the New York Police Department? The police and the FBI agents became very suspicious when they found maps of the city and certain places highlighted box cutters. Israeli intelligence agents here had box cutters. The same items that the hijackers supposedly used, 4,700 cash stuffed in a sock, foreign passports. Police also told the Bergen Record that bomb-sniffing dogs were brought to the van and that they reacted as if they smelled explosives. Bush, here's a little newspaper for The Record, Attack on America. Bush vows to retaliate against evil. 5 men detained as suspicious conspirators. And New Jersey residents with ties to Israel, a sense of deja vu. The FBI seized and developed their photos, one which shows Sylvan Kurzberg flicking a cigarette lighter in front of the smoldering ruins in an apparently celebratory gesture. The Jerusalem Post later reported that a white van with a bomb was stopped as it approached the George Washington Bridge. But the ethnicity of the suspects was not revealed. Here's what the Jerusalem Post reported on September 12, 2001. American security services overnight stopped a car bomb on the George Washington Bridge. The van packed with explosives was stopped by an approach ramp to the bridge. Authorities suspect the terrorists intended to blow up the main crossing between New York and New Jersey, Army radio reported. Two suspects are in FBI custody after a truckload of explosives was discovered around the George Washington Bridge. The FBI says enough explosives were in the truck to do great damage to the George Washington Bridge. It was reported the van contained tons of explosives. What's really intriguing is that ABC's 2020, the New York Post, and the New Jersey Virgin Record all clearly and unambiguously reported that a white van with Israelis was intercepted on a ramp near Route 3, which leads directly into the Lincoln Tunnel. But the Jerusalem Post, Israeli National News, and Yedid America all reported just as clearly and unambiguously that a white van with Israelis was stopped on a ramp leading to the George Washington Bridge, which is several miles north of the Lincoln Tunnel. So there are more pages of evidence here. I'm not going to read it. Anybody who wants to look it up can read it. It's just more of the same, more of the same. It goes on and on and on. So who do you think conspired to blow up the Twin Towers, and Building 7 that wasn't even hit, that was pulled, rigged with explosives, and here we got Israelis with vans loaded with explosives. You don't need to be Sherlock Holmes. A bunch of Jewish folks who are saying that Lucifer is their God. Alright, on that note, I'll end this video with a couple pictures. So they want to rebuild, this is called the Wailing Wall, Wailing. They go up against this wall. We've read all about protection circle, the witchcraft symbols, the circle, the five-pointed star with a circle around it, the Kabbalah, my previous videos, there's plenty of material out there, demons, and maybe the battle between good and evil. And these people, some of them say their God is Lucifer. Anyways, they got this wailing wall. They go up against it, and they kind of beat their head up against the wall like this, and praying and praying and praying, probably saying, death to America, death to America, death to America. Invocations, like we just read. Witchcraft, Kabbalah. Death to the Palestinians, death to the Palestinians. Is that what they're doing? Israel rule the world, Israel rule the world, Israel rule the world. Is that what they're saying? That's a wailing wall. And if you look up our presidents, Obama's been there with the skull cap. Bush with the skull cap. They all go there. John McCain went there with the skull cap. And they go up to the wall and they start praying. And you see them at the bus stop. I've shown other pictures. You see them on the city streets. They're all going, praying and praying and praying. And they want to rid the whole area of the Palestinians, the Arabs. They want to rebuild this King Solomon's temple, which the Freemasons fully support, Skull and Bone organizations, Illuminati, all the mystery school of Babylon religions into Luciferianism, Satanism, Moloch, the Bohemian Grove in California, where many of our presidents and leaders have been photographed, where they have a ritual called the cremation of care. A giant owl with a fire in the belly below. And they throw a baby into the fire. When questioned about this, they said it was just an effigy, a doll. I'm thinking, wait a minute, it doesn't matter if it's a real baby or a doll. What are you doing throwing a baby into the fire? Is this voodoo or something? They ship in a bunch of gay men because all those guys at the ritual are in long robes and naked. They don't allow women. So I guess they have some kind of satanic ritual sex with the gay guys. I could go on with more proof, but if you watch my other videos, you get all the information. So apparently, these people want to rule the world. Henry Ford, and I got plenty of the books on this. I just pulled the pictures out. Thought I'd have a little conversation about this. Wrote a bunch of books. I have some of them. The Dearborn Independent. He bought a newspaper just to tell about what was going on in 1918, 1920, 1922. With all these Yiddish Jews being immigrating into New York, orchestrated Barracks were set up all over Europe to train them showing them what to do when they get here. Maybe teach them a little English. And then when they did arrive in New York back then, they were causing a lot of havoc. They were very arrogant. They were financed by the evil forces, and they were buying up everything, making fun and laughing and joking and pointing at we the people, thinking, I guess, that we're stupid from allowing them this to happen. So you go look this up on the internet, used book sites. The International Jew, the World's Problem. I didn't make this up. Henry Ford published these books. I just read the books. The things they did are horrific. One of the things they did that was horrible was buying up all the liquor manufacturers, like Kentucky Liquors and stuff like that. People who were making really good whiskey and stuff. And then they would use that label and that reputation, move the facility to a major city, Chicago, for example, and then dilute the liquor 1/10 of the original brand made in Kentucky or Tennessee, and 90% something else that was actually toxic and poisonous to the people. If Americans knew that exact details of all of that, they would probably raise up and be very mad. But that's what they did. And you can get that in Henry Ford's books on used book sites. The International Jew, the Dearborn Independent. Look up those keywords and you can get the books for $10. So there's all these pictures that you can find about what's going on in the world. They call it an octopus or a spider. And apparently, the size of land that Israel wants is this big, all the way from the Euphrates. So here's Israel right here, that little teeny blue spot. And they want all this land. I guess it's like this. Saudi Arabia is down here. Did I have it correct the first time? Yes, I did. So here's Israel right here. And here's Iraq. The Euphrates River and the Nile's down here. So apparently they want quite a chunk of land, and there's several of these maps. They're designed to look like snakes even. And the symbol for Israel is the snake, the Jews. I can't make that stuff up. Thank you for watching my video. My goal, my aim, is for people to wake up and to prevent what seems like is looming in our future, World War III. The destruction of the United States, according to many videos on YouTube and alternate websites, and Main Street News about things that are fear-mongering and threatening the American people, and legislation and executive action taken by the president and legislators, and all the Hegelian philosophy activities, false flag events, and the people are made to believe it's somebody else. It's some terrorist, or it's crazies with guns. So everybody needs to give up their guns. That's what they do. They fool us. They deceive us. And the deceiver is Lucifer. And according to this stuff, when I started this video, this Rockefeller guy says he's the reincarnation of Lucifer. He goes by the name Supreme, David Rockefeller. Thank you for watching my video. Rick Marrico reporting.